There are some very positive sides to screening. Screening identifies conditions that cause sudden cardiac death, and there is plenty of evidence now suggesting that screening individuals reduces the risk of sudden deaths, in sport particularly, significantly. There are, of course, downsides to screening. Screening is expensive. It comes at a cost, and the government is not prepared to screen all 21 million people aged under 35 in this country. The conditions that cause sudden cardiac death in young people are rare. For example, the prevalence of hypertrophic cardiomyopathy is 1 in 500. The prevalence of Brugada syndrome is 1 in 2,000. The conditions that cause sudden cardiac death are diverse. They range from disorders of heart muscle all the way to disorders of the aorta. So the argument is that numerous people would have to be screened to identify just one individual who may be saved. That's one argument against screening. The second point is the issue of false positives. In the CRY screening program, we will call back about 4% of people who have an ECG. Of those, 2.8% will be false positives. That is people whom we call back, investigate, find nothing, and allow to compete again. That sort of false positive testing does create psychological anxiety for the athlete, the young individual, or the families concerned, at least for 2 weeks before we can reassure them. So there's this concept of false positives and the worry about the number of false positives. The third thing is the situation where a condition is diagnosed. The diagnosis of a cardiac condition could prove costly in many ways. It may prove costly to the person's psychological well-being. At one time, you didn't know you had a cardiac problem, now you do. What sort of psychological strain is that going to cause? It may jeopardize future mortgage applications. It may jeopardize certain jobs, such as working in the army, in the police force, working as a pilot, or driving a heavy goods vehicle. So there are some downsides, but on a positive note, these are relatively small downsides when one considers the life years lost when a 16-year-old dies. Could you substitute 67 years of life years lost for some of the issues that I've just alluded to? That's the question mark.